Today we're going to learn about space and um, also a new tool called the clone tool. So we're going to go to File, Open, and we're going to open up this space image after you downloaded it. We are going to duplicate this layer and we are going to call it clone. And the purpose of our clone tool is to help us erase or to remove objects within an image that we don't want, okay? And this tool is a little, tricky to get used to, but once you've got it down and once you've practiced with it, it will be a very powerful tool that you'll be using the entire year. So what we want to do is go to our vertical toolbar here, and we're going to click on our clone tool. So we want that selected, and that's going to open up this horizontal toolbar here. And we want to make sure that our blend mode is always set to normal, that we are using a nice soft brush. And we may change the size of this brush depending upon what we need. And you can do it this way, Control plus, Control minus. It'll help us to zoom in on our image. And so we can see what's in our image a little more clearly. It depends on what type of Chromebook you're working on or laptop or computer. You might, if your screen is touch screen, you might be able to just zoom in that way. If it's not, then you'll need to do Control plus, Control minus. But what you want to do initially is get really close to, let's see here, this light here, this train light. We're going to be removing this train light. Okay, so we want to zoom in super, super close to it. Okay. Also, we want to have a fairly small brush. So if we come over here to our brush size, we're going to want to make that fairly small, like maybe around 70 pixels. And a quick way to adjust our brush is to hit the bracket key on your Chromebook. You can make it large, you can make it small. Okay, so we want it about 70, okay? And 70, we want our blend mode to be normal. We want our opacity to be about 60 to 50%. And we want to just work on this current layer, and we're going to be using the Alt key. That's going to help us select our source, okay? So that means you're going to need to click on your Alt key on your Chromebook. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring your brush right over next to this little black part of the light for the train track, and you're going to click your Alt key, and what happens is you have these crosshairs, and you want to hold down the Alt key, and you want to, on your mouse, you want to kind of select. If you're using a mouse, if you're not, you'll just use your little keypad, and you're just going to select that cloud, and you're going to move it over. And you see how it's kind of like you can see that cloud there? You're just going to start clicking with your keypad or your mouse key, whatever you're using. And what's happening is the cloud is cloning over this light here, okay? And you're just going to keep doing this. And you notice how I keep kind of like putting my crosshairs all around and kind of moving it over? So I'm selecting different parts of the cloud and just like getting rid of this, but blending it at the same time, because we don't want to have what's called a clone pattern. A clone pattern is like when you repeat the same design over and over again. So let me kind of show you what that looks like. So if I were to make, let's say, a larger brush, okay, and let's say I were to select this cloud right here, and if I bring it over and I just keep clicking that. Do you see how this cloud here is now the same as this cloud over here, right? So we don't want that, okay? We don't want to create a pattern. So that's why I keep kind of selecting from other places. So I can kind of bring that in and just kind of change it up a little bit. But I don't want that huge of a brush. So I'm going to bring it down to about 70 again and just kind of maybe bring in some aspects of different clouds, but not the same cloud over and over again. Okay. And as I get closer to the mountains and to the grass area or bush area, I want to be really careful too that I don't accidentally clone that. Okay, so again, you have to hold down the Alt key. You see the little crosshairs and then select on your mouse, your little keypad, like what area you want to clone, and then release the Alt key. And as you release the Alt key, it'll clone whatever you selected using the Alt, okay? So Alt, whatever's in that plus, that's your source, and that's what's going to be cloned. Okay, so as I get closer to the mountain range, I'm actually going to want to bring my brush size down even more. So I have a really tiny, small brush so that I can clone these mountains over. Okay, you can hear my dog in the background probably. I'm going to clone these mountains, these gray tones in here. Okay, and just kind of bring this over. Kind of blend in these clouds, blend in these gray tones in the mountains. Maybe even make a little bit of a bigger brush and kind of this mountain peak here, I might move over to here and just kind of put in like a mountain peak there. And maybe this area here, I might bring it over and kind of create like a faux mountain peak there. Maybe even here. All right, so now it's time to get rid of this pole here. So I'm kind of, this black pole here, I'm getting rid of it. Up here as well. Now I'm going to come over here and bring over some of this gray mountain range area, make my brush a little bit smaller, because you always want to have it slightly smaller than the area that you're working in, like the space of it. Okay. And then I want to, the horizon, I want to bring the horizon over and across. So I'm going to clone this horizon right here and bring that over. Okay, good. There we go. Maybe bring this over here. Yeah, just make sure it's nice and even. I'm going to clone this horizon here as well. Bring it over. There we go. And now I'm going to start cloning some of this brush area and getting rid of this metal stand for the light. Just kind of randomly bringing over some of this brush, different value tones so that it's not creating a clone pattern. And I can even zoom in closer if I really want to take a closer look at this. Okay, just the idea is to blend it and make it look natural. So you see how I keep taking the crosshairs from all these different places, above, to the left, to the right. When I get down here closer to this gravel area, I'm going to be a little more careful that I don't create a clone pattern in here. It's really easy to do that with gravel. Just kind of blending this in, bringing over some more bush, blending that in. Now I'm going to get rid of this pole here. Then I will back out and check this. So let's go do a control minus and back out and look at this. See how it looks overall. And then let's zoom back in again and continue. Blending this in. Gonna add some more like green here. This in. Gonna add some gravel down here at the bottom. I'm going to make my brush just a little bit bigger this time, and I'm going to add maybe a particular, like an actual shape of one of the bushes here a little bit. So I clone just this bush here. I'm going to bring it over here and just kind of put it in, but not creating a pattern, okay? Just adding a little bit of a bush here. Maybe over here I'll do the same thing, kind of bring it over and add it right here. Okay, and now I'm going to zoom out and check that. And it should be completely disappeared, and that light stand is completely gone. And here is what it looked like before, and here is what it looks like now, before and after. Great, and now let's go ahead and save this. Save this as a PSD file. We're going to export it as a JPEG. Make sure it's 100% quality. Save. It's going to save as space 1. Go to our elements and principles of design. We're going to insert that here. Insert image, upload from computer, space 1. Open that up, insert that into our box here. And let's move our arrows, bring those to the front. And then we can move these around and we can talk about how, you know, the quality of space in this image, where it's at, the evidence of it. And that's it. Yeah, great.